we are, the Sunday before Christmas already. My goodness me, the fourth Sunday of Advent, the fourth Sunday of getting ourselves prepared, open and receptive to a great good thing that's about to happen. And that great good thing will be whatever you decide it's going to be. And that's the joy of it all. But here we are in the 10th chapter of Ernest Holmes' book called The Art of Living, formerly known as this thing called life. And it's an interesting chapter. And as I was saying this morning when I opened it up and I thought, oh, well, it's an interesting subject 2 days before Christmas, but it's all good. There's some good in here for us all. And yes, there is something in us, some part of us deep within us that knows, that truly knows. What does it know? It knows the truth that sets us free. And it knows how to access that truth that sets us free. Sets us free from what? Because there is one thing that's always getting in the way of your demonstration, your manifestation, my manifestation of good. Always one thing. What is that thing? And Ernest Holmes says it's fear. It's fear. That we are besotted by fear. We're soaked and saturated in fear. The world is. And we too are as well. Know it or not, we're very fear-filled. And fear runs our lives. And so he goes on to say that since fear is a mental attitude, it is fixable, it's changeable. He says we can develop what's going to be the antidote. We can grow what's going to be the antidote, and that is faith. He said we can move out of fear into faith, and when we do, we can stop living fear-filled lives, because the fear-filled person can never be happy or content. And so the antidote to fear is faith. Faith in that thing that knows within us, that intuitive intelligence, that inner awareness, that inner wisdom, that presence, that power, that amazing magnificence and radiance that is at the center core of our being. It is where we are sheltered in the shadow of the Most High. That's our shelter. And you and I can access its protection and its guidance at any time, says Ernest Holmes. But fears of all kinds assail us. We have all kinds of fears, knowingly at times and unconsciously most of the time. We're afraid of this, we're afraid of that, we're afraid of the other. We are afraid of pain, we are afraid of poverty, we are afraid of living, we're afraid of dying, we're afraid of not being received and welcomed and not belonging. We're afraid that no one is going to love us, and we're afraid that we won't be able to make friends and keep friends. We're afraid of what went on in the past. We're afraid about what will happen in the future. We're afraid about everything that's going on now. We're afraid. And so we live in a state of angst, tension, tightness. We live in a stage of this being clenched most of the time, and yet we're very unaware. And people will say, well, that's not me. I'm a happy person. I am, you know. Well, some things get buried so deeply that we're not even aware. And that's okay for a time. We move along in this happy state of being, and then all of a sudden everything goes to hell in a handbasket, and we wonder how we ever got here. It's fear. It's fear. And so you and I get the opportunity now to look at this and to decide something about it, to make a decision around it all. He said that it is possible for you and for me to live in a state of poise and serenity. We can live in a state of poise and serenity. So what is the antidote to relieving ourselves of fear? Passing through and out of the valley of the shadow of death. Because that's what the line in Psalm 23 says. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the darkness of death, It says walk through. It doesn't say settle down there. It says walk through. Walk. Don't pitch your tent there. Don't bring your building tools into it. Walk through. I say put on your runners and run through. So he said the antidote to that is to have this open receptivity to life being on your side. Have an expectancy, develop and grow an expectancy of good things happening. Have an expectancy of people being friendly in your regard and receiving you. Have an expectancy of goodwill for all and to all and peace for everybody, everywhere and everything at all times. Grow a sense of expectancy of good within yourself. And then good will find you. If you have a sense that people are friendly and welcoming, you'll find you will be befriended and welcomed. Because he says life meets you where you are. Life returns to you what you are. Life brings back to you what you give and bring to life. So grow an expectancy of trust in the divine principle in the universe being on your side. The end of his days, Einstein said, really there's only one great question and everything depends upon it. Do I live in a friendly universe? And then one of his last statements, more or less, near enough, was the only important thing to any one of us is imagination. It's the only important thing, imagination. What's going on in your imagination? What's going on in your thoughts and your visioning and so on. It's all that's important. You see, because what I expect, I experience, and many of us have come into the same experience that Job had. What I fear the most has come upon me. I knew that was going to happen. I could have bet my last dollar on it. Told you so. Now look at the state I'm in. Well, yes, look at how brilliantly we can manifest that. Magnificently on the negative side of life. But the same process that produces the negative side of life is the same process that can produce the positive side of life. I can create a pile of dirt over there or a pile of stardust over here, you see. Depending upon what I'm imagining. Depending upon what I'm thinking. So, the good Dr. Holmes goes on to say, you can change it all by getting in touch, recognizing the divine pattern of life that lives within you, that sheltered space of the Most High. You can recognize that, get in tune with that, get in touch with that, he said. Because the antidote to pain of any kind, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, is to shed the light of spirit upon it. To allow ourselves to become in company with that power and that presence consciously. And when we do, to recognize it, as the great prophet Isaiah reminded us, that it is the light, the radiance of salvation. The Lord is my light and my salvation. And the Lord means law. The law, the principle of truth, is my light and my salvation. And if I get in touch with that, I can radiate whatever the pain is with that light, and within it, the pain must dissipate itself and disappear. It cannot be where the light is. It cannot be where God is. Only God can be and nothing else. And when I'm in conscious co-creation with the source of my being, I am radiating that light, that radiance that is within me in the shelter of the Most High at the center core of my being. That's how we do it, Ernest Holmes says. That's how we do it. And we don't have to say anything. We just have to feel it. We just have to allow it. We just have to nod our heads in acceptance to that light, filling every aspect of our being and understanding I am not this body. This body is the temple of the Most High. It is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And if I know that, then it can only be that and nothing else. That's all it can be. This is the divine in human form. I didn't choose it. The divine chose to show up in me, by me, as me, in human form, so it could have its own expression as me. Oh my. If you and I could get that, we would transport ourselves to another advanced plane instantly, because we would be too advanced to stay here. And yet it's possible we can do that. We're told we can. You can do greater things than I have done. Greater things than I have done can you do, because of the power and the presence of the Father within you that does the work. If Jesus never lived, we'd be celebrating Christ in the midst of us, Emmanuel, God with us. Because Christ is a divine principle of truth, not a person. It's a force, it's a power, it's an energy, it's an intelligence. And it's a friendly one. It's on our side. It wants our good. It's for us. And again, as the wonderful prophets say, if God is for me, who can be against me? What can be against me? No thing, no one. But I have to know that. I have to go out of my fear into faith. Faith means I trust this. I trust this. I trust in the power of my word. And my word is a consciousness that knows and has said yes to omnipresence, which means yes to the presence of life within me. With its superpower, all power, its all-knowingness, and its ability always to be everywhere at once. Not a spot where God is not. This thing called God, this thing called life, this thing called being, this thing called the creative power and force and energy of the universe, right where I am. And the kicker is it's right where I am, exactly as I am, doesn't matter how awful I am at the moment. It's right where I am, and it's never diminished and never left me. It hasn't dimmed an iota, no matter how bad I may appear to be, or no matter how dysfunctional I have allowed myself to become. Still as bright and as shining and as magnificent as the moment I came into creation. And if I can wake up to that like that, I turn my life around fully, and I become the best of myself in an instant. And that's there for you, and that's there for me. Questions are asked, what if the world woke up one morning and everybody in it and everything in it recognized that power and that presence as the one thing there is? What would happen? We've no idea, because it's never happened. We don't know what would happen. We imagine what might happen. However, it is given to you, it is given to me as an individual to discover what would happen if that happened in you and if that happened in me. You see, life wasn't given to a great big glob of something. Life is an individualized expression shown up in each thing and each one, in everything in creation as individual expression. And the good news or whatever has always come through an individual expression that made a huge impact on all of life. So we do this wakening up, one individual at a time. One individual at a time. And that means all individuals are called to it. All individuals are called to it. That's one question, what would happen if? The other question is, and this is a powerful question, would you be made whole? the great master asked anybody who looked for help. Would you be made whole? Do you want to be made whole? Is it your intention to be whole? Do you want this above all else? This radiant light that is within you to dissipate the discord, whatever it is, that you're manifesting. Do you want to be made whole is the question. Do you? Yes. You do. Took you a while to get there. Do you want to be made whole? Oh my God, it's a loaded question. It's a passionate question. It's a powerful question. But then you have to decide that. You have to intend that. You have to be open to what that entails. The Buddha said that this light, when it comes into recognition within us, is a light that causes the poison of human iniquity to dissipate. It's like the water that causes the dirt of ignorance to be washed away. He says it's like a magic gem that brings with it the power to produce any great good. That's what the Buddha said. Well, Jesus, on the other hand, said it's like the pearl of great price. When you discover it, you're willing to give up everything, let go of everything in order to possess it. So where are we all with this? Where are we all with this? How seriously do we take any of it? Or do we still, when we leave these places, go back out there and pick up our fear again and say, well, that's all very nice and lovely, but really, that's not the way life is. And nobody knows what I'm contending with anyway. And yeah, maybe I'll get there, but someday, not just now. Just now I want to keep hanging on to my fear that's based in illusion, the illusion of judgment, the illusion of condemnation, and the illusion of criticism. And that's what keeps us in fear. Either we're doing it or it's done to us. Condemnation, criticism, and judgment. It'll always keep us in fear. And for the pure of mind to achieve pure consciousness of being pure in mind, I have to let go of all judgment, all condemnation, and all criticism. Oh my. Don't take away from me my favorite hobbies. Do not ask that of me. That's just too much. And yet, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take for you and for me to wake up one day and be consciously Christed. All of us are Christed already, but not consciously. Unconsciously. That's why we're told that within us lies the sleeping splendor of the divine in repose. Well, I think some of us are able to shake up that sleeping splendor out of its repose and not allow it a moment's sleep at times. That's how agitated we become. That's how fear-filled we become. The key, Ernest Holmes says, is not to go into separation, not to go into separation, not to go into separation. But every day of your life, get up and be willing to court the presence. Every day of your life, be willing to get in touch with that which is always in touch with you. Court back the presence that's always courting you. That's what we have to do. If we want to release ourselves from all fear and move out of fear into faith, we have to court the presence. We have to be aware of the presence. We have to fall deeper in love with the presence that's always on our side, always wanting our good, always at our back, always cheering us on, wanting always and ever only good and more good for you and for me to demonstrate, to manifest. It's the only design that Spirit has. There is no will of God for you. There's a divine design. that honors your brilliance and your intelligence, and that says, here, have at it, all that good, you're capable of it, go do it. And if God had a will, it would only be for your good and only your good. And if we can get close to what God's will is, it would be the words of Jesus, I have come that you may have life and have it in abundance, and that your joy may be complete, and that you may experience the peace that passes understanding. That's why I am. I am. That's why I am. And the I am is the power that we reach in the secret place of the Most High, on the inside of our life, on the interior side of our life. But you and I are so busy living and moving and having our being in the exterior side of life that we don't get to go there very often. It's like going on a great exotic vacation. And because it's a great exotic vacation in our minds, we think, well, we're not able to get there yet, or we haven't got the means to get there yet, but one day I'll get there and it'll be wonderful. And you and I can do it every moment of every day, just like that. It's better than any exotic vacation, hanging out in the secret place of the Most High. Really, it's jazzy. It's great. It's fabulous. It's the best place to be. Really, it's the in thing in the spiritual realm. Hang out with Spirit. You know, and we can. And let me tell you this, it's not dour. It's fun. It's light. It's happy. It's exciting. Even though your leg may be hanging off or whatever else, you'll come back from that feeling, oh great, I could dance all night. Really. Don't trust me. Work it out for yourself. Try it out for yourself and see if you won't be mesmerized and surprised. It's awesome. Because why? It's an attitude. It's an attitude. You let go of all your dirty, lamenting songs for the great song of joy, the great Alleluia that we heard this morning. Although I couldn't sing Alleluia like that. But I can feel it, and I can hop, skip, and jump to it, and I can be jazzed by it, and excited by it, and uplifted by it, and transformed by it, and healed by it, and taken to the next level by it. And there's always a next level. And if you and I are not advancing and advancing and advancing and advancing, we're just not getting it right. We're not living it right. We're not being it. We're not going there. We're not taking that journey inside of ourselves. Extrapolating ourselves, as Troer says, from the world of the relative, so that we can enter into the superb realm of the absolute, and there be glorified and magnified, and be able to say, as Mary said, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, because that which is mighty has done great things for me, and mighty and holy is its name, and it's right where I am. That's the song of everybody, that Magnificat. It's your song, it's my song too. So when are you going to start singing it? And so it is. It's a good day in the kingdom.
invite you to experience Dr. Moira in person on Sundays. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and childcare is available. Please join us. If you enjoy these messages and would like to make a donation to our center, please visit our website at redondocsl.org. Thank you for your support of this ministry.
I am the sky, I am the blueprint of my life. I walked the fire, felt like I died. As I breathe, I'm still alive, yeah. I am the ocean, I am the sky, I am the blueprint of my life. I walked the fire, felt like I died. As I breathe, I'm still alive. 'Cause I'm on fire, I'm on fire for love. I'm on fire, I'm on fire for love, yeah. J'étais coincée dans ma routine, prisonnière de mon quotidien.